Okay, I'm hitting it now. It's being done. It's happened. Uh, oh, you got a number for today? I got 54 for you. 54 numbers.
Why did you frame that as you asking me a question?
Because it's
I
fun.
thought you were asking me, and I was like, I don't.
No, it's 54.
In number 54, the game comes to an end.
Like it's some kind of end game or something. Except do we have to say Avengers colon end game?
Question. How
Sure.
can it be an end game if most of it takes place before the end?
Time travel,
This is a beginning middle game.
quantum, the quantum verse. I think I just answered the question. At least I did Marvel style, you know?
The Marvel style, you're just like, oh, it'll work.
Okay. Anyway, yes, it's Avengers Endgame today. This is Films and Filth. Citizen Kane of Podcasting. This is Matt here.
It's Mark.
Luke's
I am
nodding.
Luke. I'm still eating
There's
cereal. I told Matt
we're
not to record, he did it anyway.
I love
yeah.
cereal.
We're getting biblical for this one today. It's John Arminio over there.
Hey there.
Nothing in this movie's biblical.
Sorry, I'm thinking about it. Hmm.
I'm sure someone says
Yes.
Jesus Christ at some point.
I just watched several Superman movies too, not just the new one, but I went back and watched bits and pieces of some of the old ones too. So I've seen lots of biblical recently, and I'm like, did Endgame have biblical or not? Because I've just seen
Yes.
lots of super
I feel
biblical.
like I'm
Guy
taken to a
dies at the end.
spiritual place every time I look at Chris Evans's butt.
Ooh. That's America's ass. God can't have that.
So you take this Captain America over the last Captain America we talked about? The guy who steals cars?
Yeah,
JD Salinger's
As I
son,
say, he's
right?
a Salinger.
just barely.
Did Chris Evans' dad write one classic piece of fiction and then end up in writer's block for the rest of his life?
Maybe he made Bob Evans sausage.
Oh yeah, we'll have
Everyone's
to look up
thinking
the
about that, like
lineage.
as if it was real and not something I just pulled out of my ass.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
never know.
there's all different manner of ways to be a nepo baby. I'm sure some of those Avengers are.
Uh,
Uh, he has
so
an uncle who was a Massachusetts representative. There you go.
okay, that probably isn't getting to what I'm getting at. But
Nope.
this is a movie that I guess everybody kind of has a pretty firm memory of where they were and what was going on when they first saw it. This is an event movie, right?
hmm
Do you like the event? We'll get into that. But yeah, maybe I've mentioned it before, but I had a weird intergenerational viewing of this because my parents were visiting when it came out. So my daughter went, who was 10 at the time, and my dad was there. So it's in both of them, I'm like kind of like sitting there for 3 hours hoping that I'm not like ruining their day or something, right? Because um well, yeah, my daughter didn't know much of the Marvel stuff, and we had a not a kerfuffle, but Infinity. I have to look up the Infinity War synopsis because she was like, "Oh, it's so far in, I'll be confused by the movie." And I was like, "Oh, just just read the Infinity War synopsis and you'll be caught up, right?" To which it says, having acquired the Power Stone, one of six Infinity Stones from the planet Xandar, Thanos and his lieutenants Ebony Maw, Cull Obsidian, Proximia, Midnight, and Corvus Glaive intercept the spaceship. So she, ran off screaming. And fortunately, I was able to reconvince her to go see the movie, and she did. And everyone did enjoy it at the end, but I was sitting there
Yeah,
for
I
the whole
mean,
3 hours being like,
yeah,
"Ugh."
it's not like you need to know who Corvus Glaive is to enjoy Avengers Endgame.
It was just like the most dork fest synopsis ever. It's like, no, I just need a simple explanation of Infinity War. I don't need this.
You can watch both films and you won't know who Corvus Glaive is.
I
Yeah,
still don't know. Is he
That's
who
one of
is
the
Corvus
dead,
Glaive?
one of the
Ebony Maw
guys
is
who
the only
was
one whose name I think is said out loud, and it's like he only calls him the Maw.
Why didn't they say Proxima
it.
Midnight? That would have been worth saying.
yeah,
All
they
those,
have
all
some
those
cool
guys
names
are
for sure.
terrible. They have good names, but they're all terrible. They're just like, ugh, and then they die. They're
They go in
terrible.
the
But
well, they
like,
come back again this one because we travel back in time. But they do,
it's
I think they
true.
do go in with the stable of insane pod racing names. Those are also fun as characters that show up for 2 seconds on film. Often no one says their name, but they all have names.
Like
Hey
Gamora and
man,
Nebula are much
don't you
better.
speak ill of my boy Ben Quadranero.
I'm not. I'm saying it's awesome. I'm saying that's one of the best stables of bullshit names ever. So
Yeah,
runner
Proxima
up.
Midnight does sound like some mysterious Sith wizard or something.
What do
Yeah,
you
it
mean the
sounds like
guy?
a Castlevania, like not a main Castlevania villain, but like one of the last people you have to fight.
Like
Um,
the job that just thinks of bizarre sci-fi names. I'd be in like, like a big office, just one desk in the middle, and people would come in and be like, "Give me one," and then I give them a crazy
Matt,
sci-fi name. Yeah,
are you aware of Kojima Productions?
is that what they do? Think of dumb names all the time?
Look, look, like I could just spend the rest of the podcast telling you names of Kojima characters,
Yeah,
but
sure. Okay, but that would be a waste of time. So, how about your first game at the end, Mark? You want to
well,
tell us about that?
this was as many people will remember, and I guess many people won't. It was originally Infinity War Part 2, but then it was released as it was untitled second Avengers movie until I think they announced the title like a few months before it came out. And they said, well, it's the title is spoken by a character in Infinity War. And I did guess that it was Endgame, even though I couldn't find the comment where I said that, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I remember I went opening night. It was cool because there was definitely like the type of the intensity of the crowd interaction is not really something I've ever experienced before. Like when
Mhm.
the 5 years later thing came up, it was like, oh, like people were just freaking out. And of course, when Captain America picks up Thor's hammer, it was like I've been to sports games and I've never heard anything like that. Like it was completely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the biggest responses to anything in a movie I've ever experienced in a theater.
I
Yeah,
saw it in a
and
Japanese theater, so oh well.
You wouldn't
the
get that in
one
a
guy was
Japanese
like,
theater or a
"Yay!"
British theater, but I have seen it on YouTube and enjoyed it. Oh, Mark, if one guy was like Way, he would be persona non grata for the rest of his life. No guy
Like, get
can be
out.
like Way.
He has to bow a couple of times and then leave and never come back to the movie theater.
Hmm.
It's like that. But what was I gonna say?
I
It
think I
was
got that vibe when I saw the first of the Matrix sequels, but now we have to
we'll,
convince people that the Matrix sequels are maybe good.
we'll get
I'll
into it.
support those.
We'll get into it, but I do have feelings about like that scene, as good as it is, could have gone into any version of this anywhere really, and it didn't really amount to anything, which kind of bums me out. Like if Captain America picking up the hammer had been like what really knocked his ass out, then it would have been more satisfying. But
Hmm.
anyway, it was a good moment.
Yeah, he gets some good hits in, but then he's eventually kind of knocked down, and the movie has to go on from there.
It's wrestling. It's like that really good thing that happens in that wrestling match that doesn't win anybody a belt.
Yeah.
It's the this movie is a string of really good moments, and I feel like there are more of the good moments the first half. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
interesting
think
because I
that
always watch this film just for the last hour.
yeah,
that's where it loses me. The big conflagration of people in different green screens
Oh, like
spliced
I'm
together.
very aware it's dog shit, but it just, it got me on opening night, and sometimes I want to relive
yeah.
that feeling. So,
Yeah.
It's well executed. Like I can't accuse the Russos know how to do action scenes. They know how to make it like kinetic. They know how to make it clear, which is most Marvel directors don't, or I should say maybe most passes made by the CGI team don't work as well as this. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say my last four notes. Granted, it's also, getting close to 1 in the morning, so I'm getting sleepy, but it's like, let's be real, this movie is kind of over at this point dramatically once Hulk snaps his fingers. And then my notes are just loud noises. Captain Marvel's a bit of a cheat code, and he is Iron Man. Those are the rest of the notes I wrote.
no, yeah, because they literally kill Thanos at the start, and then they find a bullshit way to bring him back so they can have a rematch.
Yeah.
Well, you get more evil Thanos that way. You don't get thoughtful
It's
Thanos.
And
but it
well,
feels
like
that feels like a cheat too. So sorry, go ahead, John.
this might be a hot take for somebody who loves comics as much as I do, and for somebody who's seen like every MCU movie, I think. I think Thanos sucks. I think he's a
That's
bad villain. He has his motivation is dumb. He wants to kill the half the universe, and so he gets a like a magic wand to do it. Like that doesn't make any sense.
I
He needs
liked
to get
him
a
more when he
girlfriend
was
that's tough.
He's
killing half the universe because he loved death, than
Yes,
like
yeah,
the
no, okay, okay,
bullshit
Yeah,
okay.
making
that
it
would
make
have
So
sense
been
version.
good. They
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 hint
just
at that
couldn't
at
do
the end of the
that.
first Avengers.
They just
so
I guess they just couldn't do it because it'd be too horny.
okay.
Cowards.
Also, I think he looks dumb in his in CGI. He never looks cool. He looks silly. But in the comics, like you were saying, Luke, he's obsessed with the physical manifestation of death. So he's pathetic, right? He's this guy who's in love with this woman who's never going to love him back, and so he's willing to conquer worlds and galaxies in order to impress her. So the fact that somebody so pathetic has a tool so powerful is scary. And the movie, the MCU Thanos skips over that and just tries to impress you with how cool and powerful he is. And he's neither. He's a guy with a scrotum for a chin. Uh, and it's silly and unconvincing to me. And so there's never been this grand antagonist for in the MCU that I find compelling. And I think even in comics, he's nothing compared to Doom or Galactus.
I
Yeah,
know.
I particularly don't like this Thanos, partly because it feels like we don't know him as well as the last one, but at the end he's just going on this rant where he takes it so personal, the things that happened to the other him. It's just like, clearly this won't work. What I have to do is kill everyone and destroy the universe, which feels completely unearned. It doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
Try
that
having
that's
a
just
scrotum for a chin
make
yourself. See
it
if you get a
that's
good
just
chip on
like
your shoulder.
well, it's just like preparing everybody for like we're making this guy totally irredeemable because you're gonna kill him at the end, like we do every single villain in every movie that's ever been made by Marvel. You know what I mean? It's not it's boring. I mean, his
Yeah,
double
that's
bladed
why
sword.
I wish we could have had like Nebula kill him, like somebody that
Yeah,
he directly abused and like gaslit and manipulated into being his slave basically. And so if we could get her like to get personal revenge, I think that would have been awesome because I love her as a character. I love Karen Gillan's portrayal of her, like just the way she talks, her voice is so spectacular, and so to have her just like lop his dumb purple head off would have been very sweet.
especially if it was the Nebula that was the traitor one from the earlier time period. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I love Nebula. She's just like this. She's so funny and scary at the same time. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's like something there, man. Anyway,
you believe that
uh,
she's been through terrible things and that
yeah,
she deserves some catharsis.
she's a character that's like an absurd backstory, but she makes it work so well.
Mhm.
It's like if she
Yep.
feels more real than a lot of the other, even the other Guardians of the Galaxy.
Of
Um,
course, I have to give props because she's from Doctor Who and she's married to a YouTube comedian that I like.
isn't she like ridiculously tall also? Like
Um,
6.5 feet or something.
Maybe.
I think like 5'11" or 6 feet.
Huh. Oh, and I'm thinking of the gold lady
Oh yeah, because she's
from
the
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
She's
lovely.
yeah,
stupidly
She's the
tall.
woman
yeah.
from Tenet.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I think one of the
looks like a
missions
special effect.
impossible. Yes, I love a tall queen.
Shall we take the moment here, Luke, if you're willing to give us the quick down on the story of this movie?
Oh no! Half the Disney's Marvel brand superheroes have disappeared after Thanos TM snapped his fingers. Now Disney's Marvel's Avengers need to travel through the history of Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe to retrieve the Infinity Stones TM and undo the snap TM. Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark's Iron Man must gather up Chris Evans' Steve Rogers' Captain America, and Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner's Hulk, and Chris Hemsworth's Thor, and Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff's Black Widow, and Jeremy Renner's Clint Barton's Hawkeye, and Don Cheadle's James Rhodey Rhodes' War Machine, and Paul Rudd's Scott Lang's Ant-Man, and Karen Gillan's Nebula to save the day.
Okay, yeah, I'll support that one.
Did you put Captain Marvel in there? Because I didn't even catch that.
No, because I was originally writing about the time heist, and then I realized I already mentioned it, so I didn't need to. And Brie Larson's Carol Danvers Captain Marvel.
So it drives me insane how basically she does not exist in the first movie and then is introduced in a movie that's in between the two movies and shows up at the beginning of the second movie just to basically like yell at people about how she can't be around, and then she leaves for almost the entire movie. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
so
very
annoying.
dumb. Yeah, you can't introduce a character this powerful and then have the Avengers lose and just like not explain it. It like I think Brie Larson is an incredible actress. I love Carol Danvers as a character, but Marvel just really dropped the ball with how they handled
Yeah,
it.
she
Just
kind of
very
drifts
bad.
towards sort of Superman in the Justice League territory, where it's like she's so powerful, it doesn't make sense for her to be part of this team.
It's a
Hey,
Goku problem.
Luke, I want to
Yeah.
roll back to your summary just for a moment. Have you happened to, by some chance, seen these Disney videos about like planning weddings at their parks or whatever?
No, but please
Because
Oh
it
don't
has the
mention
no.
wedding
couples that
videos
have
right now.
they have the couples that have clearly been told like use complete names, so they can't be like, oh, we went to the Bell Ride, and after that we decided to go check out Pandora. They have to be like, we rode the enchanted tale of Beauty and the Beast, and after that we went to Pandora, the world of Avatar, and at Pandora, the world of Avatar. So every time they have to say the complete name. That's why I was asking, because your summary sounded like those that like these people getting married.
I see. No, it's just generally,
I guess this is
very, very
corpo
corporate
speak,
art.
and yeah, that's
Yeah.
just one I highly amused by recently.
So I do this time around I did feel like the beginning was nice. It had a lot of nice character moments, and then when the time heist starts, that's when I started getting annoyed because
I'm still on for time heist. I don't care about the Bizarro rules. I mean, they do just
it's
kind of like just they just say the names of 10 movies and they're like, yeah, you'll figure it out, you know. So if you're annoyed by that, I get it, you know.
no, that's not what I'm annoyed by. What I'm annoyed by is Nebula, whose mind can be scanned, goes to the place where her mind can be scanned, and then says, when they get there, she says, my brother and my father and my sister, there's no brother. Then my father and my sister are also looking for the stones. Where it's like, you just say that before you leave. You know what I mean? And then they send Hawkeye and Black Widow to the crazy death planet. And again, I believe the rules last time were you have to kill the thing you love the most, and this time it was kill something you love. But I guess they killed all of Hawkeye's family so he could love Black Widow the most.
There you go.
So I'm a writer now.
Good job. Here's your hat.
Yeah,
Thanks.
the
I
rules on that are pretty wonky. But yeah, I totally agree with you about the Nebula thing. Like she should have known immediately that being on the same planet where her past self is would allow them to access her neural network. And so she should have been like, we got to get out of here ASAP. So
it's just
a plot hole, I guess, but
yeah, it's a pretty that's just something where it's like they introduce tension by making a character just forget to say the really important thing before they go
yeah.
and use the only time particles that they pim particles that they have. Also the again the whole thing where Doctor Strange says we have one chance to win and then he just dies and then somehow it all works out is horse shit. Like there's no way you can guarantee that by like it was mass chaos the entire time. There's no
We,
way you can guarantee that the one outcome was going to happen.
but we get the cool Tilda Swinton scene because of that.
I love the Tilda Swinton scene. I love Tilda Swinton, even though I'm pretty sure that character should
Dingy
be
Sweenhoo.
pretty sure that character should be Asian, but I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's
I
good
don't
point.
Probably.
remember. I don't
Yeah, but
remember, but
Tamala
Well,
Swahali's
okay,
such
yeah,
a good actor, I don't mind.
yeah. Like the Asian one is an an offensive Asian stereotype, right? So if you cast an Asian actor to be this offensive Asian stereotype, you're playing to that stereotype. But then if you cast a white actor in that role, you're you're taking away a
Like,
role from an Asian actor. So you're
who
screwed either way.
decided it's a offensive Asian stereotype?
I'm sorry.
Who decided it's an offensive Asian stereotype? Because a lot of Asian media does feature magical bearded guys in the mountains who train you. Like,
Sure.
like the
Most likely
portrayal could be
Americans.
racist, sure, but I don't think it's automatically racist to do a very common Asian trope.
Yeah, but you have to put
I'm
yourself
just
in
saying
the
it's Americans who decided it's racist.
and
Well,
it's
yeah.
Americans
Well,
who are
when it's
afraid
created by
of
Steve Ditko, it's racist.
That's true, yeah. I mean,
like
I don't need
Shang-Chi.
the 10-minute scene where the Ancient One picks up Atlas Shrugged and reads from it verbatim.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
Benedict Wong is an Asian character who is aligned with all those dudes. Everybody loves Benedict Wong in that
yeah.
role. He's just playing himself, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. That I love a lot of Asian film. A lot of it is just loaded with stereotypes. Never feels mean spirited like a you know mid mid 50s American portrayal of Asians, though. Uh,
hmm
totally different, but also I don't know. But yeah, yay, Tilda Swinton
Yeah,
punches the Hulk out of his body. That's cool.
that was cool.
All that sequence going back into the first Avengers. For as much as this movie seems to want to shit on Back to the Future, it stole so much from Back to the Future 2. Like
Mhm.
this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Back to the Future 2. I kind of feel like all Marvel stuff is very Back to the Future coded. Like it's got that balance of like humor and soft sci-fi, but not too soft. Like
I thought
that's
they
it's
were
very
lovingly ribbing on here. I didn't really get the impression that they
yeah. I
were
guess they weren't
getting on Back
really
to the Future.
mad. There
Yeah,
was
well, I
probably more
think
of a
I think because they're taking into account like the grandfather paradox, right? Like if you go back in time to kill your grandfather, you would never have gone back in time to kill your grandfather.
hmm
Hmm.
So back to so time travel movies don't ever take that into account. They're actually these characters are actually going back in time to change the past. So this movie tries to suppose or tries to take that into account and so okay, let's use time travel to change the present. But when you're going back in time to retrieve magic gems, you're kind of undercutting your scientific theorem.
I had a
but you,
Santa Claus in the real moment though when I found out that the time travel suits are never actually existed. Apparently those are all CGI completely.
that's pretty
Insane.
believable.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
Karen Gillan talked about how like that their costumes were completely different when they were on set, and it was a surprise to them all, and they had these other suits.
the bit where I really noticed it is right at the end, the when I'm supposed to be feeling the emotional scene of Iron Man's death, and it's just these like four heads poking up above these like Spy Kids bodies.
Yeah.
And like you could like he wasn't even wearing makeup for the death scene. They did all that in post. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
everything
I
where
had that moment at
Spider-Man
the end of
shows up
Infinity
is
War,
just
but yeah.
like yeah,
Spider-Man shows up and it's a head, and Black Panther shows up and it's a head. Yeah, that's a lot of that.
like the best moments in this movie are like when Scott comes back and he sees his daughter
hmm.
for the first time and like he has tears in his eyes or when we get old Steve say no
Yeah.
I
And
don't think I will like those one-on-one moments with these incredibly talented actors like that that's where the movie works best
and
and
actual incredible makeup as well in that scene.
yeah
They can do it. Yeah, I
yeah
think
two actors in a room talking wow what an idea
Yeah.
My favorite moment for this viewing was the taco because I was sad about the taco and then the
oh
Hawkins
yeah that
and the
was
new
great
taco.
yeah
I was
But,
hungry. I wanted a taco.
like
But
the back
all
and
the Avengers films, my favorite bits are just these characters being together and bouncing off each other.
yeah
the whole like kind of love-hate thing with Tony Stark and Steve Rogers is just like so compelling here. It's like I don't know, maybe I wouldn't feel as strongly about it if I hadn't seen all the three or four other movies where they fought or whatever, but it felt great. It felt real and
Mhm.
cut deep,
Well, that was where this is like a one-time only trick you can pull off that they can't even pull off again because you did have that arc properly running through 4 or 5 movies. But I don't.
Mhm.
I don't feel like the earlier MCU they were plotting 6 movies ahead quite as much as they are now. I mean, they were to a certain extent, but it seems like more of that since. Like,
Well,
oh, let's
the
do it again, let's
plot.
do it again, and they're going
I
kind of crazy
don't
trying to do it
I
again.
don't I don't buy it. I don't buy that they plotted a lot of this in advance. I'm pretty sure they were like, okay,
No,
well,
phase
Ant-Man
one
is
was
here.
like, well, they're gonna team up eventually, was about as far as they had, and then yeah, we got an Avengers film, and then Avengers ended with, well, we'll do Thanos. So like the idea like, oh, it's plotted in advance. Like no, they just kind of they were seeding the Infinity Stones because eventually they do something with that.
Yeah,
It's not like complex storytelling.
and Thanos was not Josh Brolin in the 2012 cutscene.
No, no, no. Like I said, he's also very, very explicitly referencing the
The horny version.
yeah.
Maybe, maybe they'll just bring Thanos back and he'll have a death girlfriend or
Well, that's
attempt.
the
attempt.
Avengers
Um,
Yeah,
movie is
because
the pivot
in
point, isn't it? That's where Disney buys it. And I think on that one it's
yeah.
like who had it before? They still got to put their name on Avengers, but the sale had been made by that point. So
yeah, they made that. Disney had nothing to do with the production of that film. I think
yeah.
either that
Because
or
from
the one before it.
2008 to 2000 to 2011, maybe like before Avengers like really got into production, they were really trying to see if they could make an Iron Man, a Captain America, and a Thor film even work. And
Mm.
if either one of those character launches had failed, then that probably would have changed their plans for the first Avengers movie.
Well,
But
here's
now, yeah,
here's the I mean, proof that they were still not thinking about things is at the end of this film, Thor goes off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and James Gunn had been fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and he was
yeah,
rehired like right when this came out. And then when you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Thor just like leaves. And he said in interviews recently, he's just like, I don't really like that character. I don't know how to write him, so I just got rid of him. So that whole thing, uh, don't get me wrong, that probably could have been really fun to have a Thor X Guardians movie, but I like what we got.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I think
think like because they're both the comedy ones by this point. So someone should was like, oh, let's put the comedy ones together, and then we'll have a funny comedy film later. And it's like, good, they were directed by two different directors with different senses of humor. So,
Well, and then
and
Thor went on to be in a comedy movie that didn't work at all
oof.
mm.
by
But
the guy
yeah,
who made the
that
one that made
Yeah,
Wow.
because
I
no one
think
told Christian Bale it was a comedy movie.
Well, also, lol, my
God.
girlfriend has cancer. I mean, God, what a mess.
Yeah, that okay, yeah, it's Love and Thunder smashes together two of the most emotionally traumatic Thor stories or Marvel stories period ever written. The long-term cancer suffering of Jane Foster and then this other story about this like victim of genocide going around the universe murdering gods and smashing those two stories together to make a feel good comedy about displaced people fleeing, genocide. It's an insane idea. Anyway, um, I think you talk about Chris Hemsworth being like one of the funny ones. I think the secret weapon to the MCU has been the stupendous casting of some of
Hmm.
these roles. Like who knew Chris Hemsworth was going to be so funny? Because a legitimate hilarious screen presence. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. is perfect Tony Stark. Chris Evans is perfect as Steve Rogers. A lot of mixed feelings about Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, but when you have these core characters embody the roles so well that you're able to create affection in the audience that'll sustain you to event movies like this. But when that starts breaking down, it you begin to lose the narrative cohesion and the audience eventually drifts away, which is what we've been seeing since, Endgame.
Endgame's Abbey Road. We're in Wings territory now, with the
Yeah.
current MCU.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
me
So
some Wings. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong,
sure.
but
Very talented people in Wings. But is it Abbey Road? Mm,
there's
Well, the
so
the MCU films that have fired since it landed are the ones which are very separate. So Guardians 3 was really good because it was just James Gunn finishing his Guardians trilogy. Deadpool and Wolverine was good because it was a Deadpool film.
I did not like that movie.
I mean that like we're talking about like the corporate script I did at the start,
Sure, yeah.
10 times as bad as Deadpool and Wolverine, but
Oof.
I also just I love Hugh Jackman and seeing him on screen again kind of made up for
I
any
also love
failings.
Hugh. I love Hugh Jackman, but nothing Ryan Reynolds does makes me laugh.
See, I kind of
So that movie is like 10,000 Ryan Reynolds jokes, and so for me, it was interminable.
that's
It's
understandable. I can gel with his humor. He's not my favorite, but I don't dislike it.
My bias is I always forget that I always think the title of the movie is Wolverine and Deadpool. So,
it's funny. I like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I've never liked the Deadpool comics. For some reason, I like that version of Deadpool. I don't know.
I,
I don't even
I
know.
think
I feel like I see Ryan Reynolds and I'm like, I'm ready to hate this guy, but then it just works on me. I'm just a child.
I think
Uh,
Deadpool works best as a part of a team. He's the wacky wild card in a five card deck, you know. I don't like him as a main character
He's
typically.
Yeah,
your
that's why they
rocket.
put him next to Cable and next to Wolverine
Yes,
anyway.
exactly. He's Rocket.
yeah. So going back to the time travel nonsense, how do you guys feel about the whole thing where they insist that they cannot go back and save Black Widow, even though we do get a second Gamora? Does that sound like bullshit to
Oh,
anybody?
yeah, you're kind of right. I hadn't really thought about it.
They could have gone back in time and gotten a different Black Widow, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
they would be creating a Black Widowless universe for someone else.
sure.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
I don't know.
basically the plot of with Mum Wanda in Doctor Strange, right? She's just gonna steal the children from a universe where she's happy.
Yeah,
So they wouldn't do that, Mark, because they're heroes, actually.
So I guess
you're right.
Wanda agrees with your criticism.
Yeah.
Well, look, her contract is up, so we can't save her. And also,
Hmm.
I was trying to find a line
There we
like that I
go.
could
Yeah.
put into my synopsis, like, but oh no, Robert Downey Jr.'s contract is up, so Iron Man's gonna
it
make an
does make me
entirely
kind.
unsurprising exit.
It does make me insane that they made a movie. They made the Black Widow movie after she was canonically dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was just such a dumb move. And
And then put it
also,
out directly in the middle of the pandemic.
well, also they cast two people. I love what's their names? The
I know who
Florence
you
Pugh.
mean, the dad and the
Florence
sister.
Pugh. Yeah, I love them. Why are they casting like non-Russian people to do Russian accents? It's bad. Their Russian accents are bad. I saw Thunderbolts. I liked Thunderbolts. I thought it was good. Their Russian accents are like worse because they're
What's your
trying less
Russian
hard.
accent?
The only character from that region of the world is the one that dies within 30 seconds and never gets to
Uh,
talk. What
Adds
bullshit.
up.
Olga Kurylenko is one of the most misused actresses in movies. She's so talented at playing like romance, at playing drama, at action, and she keeps getting cast in these roles where she's not utilized properly, and it's infuriating. Especially because I love the character of Taskmaster in the comics. He's such a goon, and it's hilarious. But anyway, sorry.
No, no, no. I mean, you're right. It's just, it's like Grand Theft Auto 4. You spend 100 hours with American actors doing Russian accents. It's just ridiculous. Like that, you need to tell me you can't find anybody. It's just that the guy, what's his name? The guy who directed Hardcore Henry and Nobody, who's a Russian director, like puts a bunch of Russians in his films. Like Russian mobsters are all over his films, and they're great because they're actual Russians, and it doesn't sound like a, an American butchering the accent or British person in the case of Florence
Anyway,
Pugh.
Endgame doesn't have any fake Russians, right? Am I missing someone? It does have. It probably,
They
unless
probably
I'm like,
do.
does it? Yeah, I'm like, does it?
I don't know.
I mean, it has Natasha
Probably.
Romanoff, but she stopped doing the accent.
Yeah.
I don't know if she
Did
ever
she
even does
ever
the
do?
accent in the
No,
films.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think
Yeah.
so.
I guess that is. Then
And
we are talking about Black
also,
Widow, but
Wanda did an accent for like the first film and a half she was in.
oh right, yeah.
But
That's
that's a
when she actually
Sokovian
did stop
accent.
in the
That's
middle. Yeah.
she can just make that one up however she wants.
I'm from Sokovia. Also, you could just be like she adapted, right? She, some people, like
Yeah.
Madonna's British accent, right? It's like halfway there.
Yeah, the Black Widow sounds like she's from California in this. I guess Tony Stark does too.
Hmm. Where's Tony Stark? I guess he's New York. I don't know. I guess everyone's New York in the MCU, unless they're an alien.
Right? Probably.
No, Wolverine's from Canada, right? We got that going.
Sure, he does a great job with that.
All
He
of Alpha
definitely
Flight.
sounds really Canadian. I'm sorry. I don't mean to attack Hugh Jackman on this podcast.
Hugh Jackman should have taken tips from Terrence and Phillip for his performance.
I don't know.
The
Canadians and
funny
Americans sound the same to me, so it doesn't bother me.
the funny thing is that the pilot for the X-Men cartoon, have you guys ever seen that?
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Where
like
they've got.
Wolverine is clearly
Pride of the
Australian.
X-Men, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Where he's
very clearly
Australian.
Australian, and so it's then they cast an actual Australian as
Well,
Wolverine.
I
It
guess that's you
rhymes.
just keep doing that.
Yep.
Just keep doing that. Uh, so yeah, for me, I am gonna go. I'm Margo. You're off for the time heist. I'm still on for the time heist. Like I said, once I check out once the Hawk snaps his fingers.
I,
It's def
yeah.
like Matt. You've brought this up about Spider-Man: No Way Home a lot. This is a film which is really good the first time you see it in the cinema, but it falls apart
Yeah.
more and more every time you watch it because it's not made to be a film.
But you're saying it's the third hour that you're going for. For me, the
I yeah,
third hour
because
is
I
what
just
you're
want to
talking
see.
about.
I want to see Cap get the hammer, and I want to see what. I'm not saying that bit's good,
But
but
see, No Way Home, I agree fully because No Way Home, I'm like, yeah, let's get rid of the first hour and a half. I just want to see all the Spider-Men together, right? That's why I'm
Hmm.
here, and the rest of the movie is not. That's why I found that one not to be so rewatchable. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I
When I say I
found my
skip to the end, I'm not even watching that whole hour. I'm then just watching highlights. This is a film which I love watching on YouTube.
Mm.
yeah, like I can't deny the emotions I felt seeing this and Infinity War in the theater. Like I
Hmm.
remember that experience and it was incredibly cathartic. But rewatching it for this podcast, I, you know, those interpersonal moments still hit. I think a lot of the jokes that Scott Lang says are good, but a lot of the stuff rubbed me the wrong way, like just really making Thor the butt of the joke. I thought was pretty, yeah, that's disappointing, especially because of the wonderful like character arc resolution we got with Thor Ragnarok, turning him into this pathetic sad sack. Whether he's fat or not or whatever, it's the way he behaves is pretty disappointing, and not funny, and yeah, just the CGI mishmash of it all just isn't interesting on rewatch,
It,
especially at
it
home by myself.
it stuck out a lot more, the Thor whatever character arc. It stuck out a lot more in Love and Thunder to me because he was still pathetic and dumb in that.
Yeah.
But I really thought about it while I was watching that. I'm like, this guy is what, 1,000 years old, several thousand years old. Like, you could have written something interesting for him. Like, I feel like if you experienced a great loss at that age, then you probably would be more like Dr. Manhattan about it than you would be like
Yeah,
completely falling
so
apart.
there was a moment in I think it was the Jason Aaron. No, it was in an Avengers comic. So sorry, but where Thor is like he's talking to Steve Rogers, and he says like look, I'm 1,000 years old, and sometimes I have to go to Asgard, to be the god of thunder or whatever for 100 years, and I come back, and all the friends I made the last time I was Earth are dead. So when I come back and I find all my friends are still here, of course I'm overjoyed to see them. Of course I'm big and boisterous and want to live every moment to its fullest. That's why I'm like this, because I love you so much. And I feel like we never got to that moment of like wisdom with this Thor because that it's not that he's an idiot that he likes to drink and live life to its fullest. It's because of the wisdom that he's gained about mortality and the fleetingness of life on Earth. That's why he's like this, because he knows the importance of taking that time to celebrate the people he loves. And we got a little bit of that in Ragnarok, but we lose it after that, which is, pretty unfortunate.
But also, I think you're talking to a wider problem that, like, the comics have had, 70 years for these characters to interact and have real
Sure.
relationships and friendships, whereas here you get like 5 minutes before the action scenes have to start. So I remember seeing a tweet, I think it was either when this one came out or when Infinity War came out, where someone was like, yeah, reading fan fiction on Tumblr has given me an inflated idea of how much these characters like each other. Because actually, you watch the films, they're kind of just co-workers.
Yeah, and they have to, because of, I guess, the rules of Hollywood filmmaking, is like they introduced Natalie Portman, so they have to have this through line of what, sorry, Jane Foster. Jane Foster has to have such an effect on him that it like destroys his mind,
Hmm.
where realistically that's, I don't know, that's not believable. I even in my 40s, I don't really see myself meeting somebody who would who would like make me completely lose my shit. I'm like, well, I'll meet somebody else.
Well,
She's
sorry
not
you're not a
act
romantic, Mark.
she's not
Well,
actually in this movie, is she?
it's
They just
No.
got old footage, right?
numbers are real,
I
Luke.
think, no, she did come in and record audio, I think.
Oh, okay.
She was in it for a minute, but the thing that she really she signed back up for the storyline In Love and Thunder, which admittedly, yeah, the whole
On
cancer
paper, you're like,
thing,
oh yeah,
it
I get to
gave
come in and be Thor. Of course you
Yeah,
would.
when you explained the spot, I was, oh no, maybe I do need to see Love and Thunder because I haven't yet.
it gave her a lot, but the thing that it gave her was completely mismatched with it also had Russell Crowe kind of wasted being Zeus,
Yeah.
which is like incredible casting, and Christian Bale was great, but he was in it for like
He
30
was in a
minutes.
different film.
He was in a different film and he was barely in it, and I don't even remember, I don't remember what happened to him at the end. That's it, it was a mess that,
And I think the power of friendship defeated him at the end.
Yes.
yeah.
And that character in the comics, when he's confronted with that choice, he's like, "No, I'm about murder. You're all gonna die." And like he's an irredeemable. He's a character who suffered incredible tragedy, but he's ultimately irredeemable. He's just slaughtered too many. And
Yeah.
this is a movie about like goofing off with Zeus.
Yeah, there some of that stuff could have, that could have been one good movie and they just couldn't make
Yeah.
up their mind. I think Taika Waititi was just drunk with power and just on vacation banging multiple partners according to the blind items or whatever. So I
Well,
think he
I
just
think he was
lost it.
also doing Our Flag Means Death. I think he
Mhm.
had his attention drawn in too many directions.
That's also possible. I think it's something to do with the What We Do in the Shadows TV series,
That
maybe.
too, yeah, yeah.
So,
And I like
uh,
his non-Marvel films, Jojo Rabbit and Last Go Wins.
And he gets to make non-Marvel films. That's one of the things.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's directors and actors just get stuck in the grind.
he'll be fine. And after Chris Hemsworth, the performance he put in Furiosa, I want to see him do non-Marvel films too.
God, he's incredible in that movie.
It's mind blowing.
Um,
Wish that was on the good list.
pushing the ball along. I don't think any of us want to call it filth. You want to call it Avengers Endgame filth?
No, it's content.
It's content. Okay, you can
It's
call it content if you want.
It's not a
it's
film.
it's not again. It's not really a film, I guess. But there, I want to say it might be more of a film than Infinity War because you do get like one solid plot that goes in a straight line, even if it does time travel. Like it's not
Oh,
jump. It
that's
doesn't jump
interesting
around
because I
so
kind of
much.
feel like Infinity
I,
War, like it has that through line of Thanos, and it has a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas this one has like an end and then a middle and then another end. And
that
it relies on you knowing all these other films that they're traveling to in the middle.
See, I guess
I
I
think
would
it's
equate the two
better.
films, stick them together, and it's kind of like an old school TV miniseries. That's kind of how it feels, you know? Like if you think if you're willing to call it an old school TV miniseries, like kind of a film, I guess it could be. But
I
as a
think
cinematic thing, it's a little weird.
I think this being different from Infinity War makes both of them better. If
Yeah,
this
oh
had
yeah,
been
for sure,
exactly
for
the
Yeah.
sure.
same, that would have been way too much. Like
They do
it's
feel really different. That's fair.
Because I do remember coming out of Infinity War being like, oh God, that was so much. Am I gonna have to do like at the time thinking 2 more hours of this, not knowing it was actually gonna be 3 more hours of that. I can't do that all day, you know?
Oh yeah, I came out of Infinity War like genuinely bummed, and I'm not an idiot. I knew they were all coming back in a year's time, but
Yeah, yeah,
it
I
still made
agree.
me walk out the cinema feeling like Spider-Man just died.
I came out of Infinity War drunk. I came out of Endgame. I came out of talking to friends of mine. It was like friends of mine ended up seated somewhere else because I got my ticket too late or something. And
Hmm.
I was like, I'm not crying. And I kind of was crying. And then obviously nobody else was crying. So I just wrote it off and didn't talk about it
Well, in
anymore.
Endgame, I was crying at like, oh yeah, he got the hammer and he did um Avengers Assemble, just like tears of joy.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
my
that
friend was like, "Oh man, I cried at Tony dying and um I Love You 3000." And that was when I realized, yeah, I don't like Iron Man that much.
that's the
I will
thing, dude.
never I would never shed a single tear for a billionaire.
I
Uh,
didn't cry at Iron Man. I cried at Captain America. That's what made me, that's
mm.
what
Yeah,
hit
oh
me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
That
I
was a great
didn't
ending, but
Right at the
his
taco.
he went, well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that Captain America went back in time and had like whatever shitty tacos they had in 1945 with his girlfriend.
I mean, he surely spent the next 60 years being like, "Oh fuck, all these things I'm used to aren't invented."
I don't think
Polio's
Steve
back,
cares.
shit.
Did anybody watch Agent Carter the series?
I watched like the
Yes.
first episode or two.
I
Yeah, it was a lot of
really
fun.
liked it. I
Yeah.
liked it.
I haven't
Uh,
seen it. I'll send a Podular Haley Atwell if you want.
it kind of works. It works better as a period piece than the first Captain America movie because it just takes its time and
What is the period of the show, just out of curiosity?
it's
Like
like a couple of years
post-war
after.
founding of Shield.
Okay, just
Yeah,
curious. I thought it was
as
something
like
like that.
there's just like there's a Russian double agent in it who's like this incredible psychopath. I don't want to give away who it is, but it's worth
Is it
watching.
a
It's
Russian?
Is the
yeah,
actor
but
Russian?
the actor does not do a Russian accent. It's just
Ah.
Black Widow all over again, but in the
Okay.
past.
Yeah, they're a
So,
competent spy, so
yeah,
Um, so Luke, usually you're the one asking a question, but I'm going to pose the why is this number 54 on the good list, which if it's especially if none of us are quite willing to say it's a proper cinematic film.
I mean, the hype around this when it came out was immense.
Yep.
And like people like as a like we're talking about it in terms of being a film, and I think it's a very, very flawed film. In terms of being a culmination of a cinematic thing like they were doing, it's a phenomenal success. So much so that every blockbuster since has tried to have some of this and absolutely failed. Even other Marvel films, they keep trying to rush to getting another one of these. So that's why you have all three Spider-Mans and you have all the Fox characters, and it's like, but this worked because they took 10 years to get there. And it doesn't feel forced and fake. Like all of these films did happen, and by the time you get to this point, you're like, yeah, all these characters do coexist, and this does make sense.
it's the writing, man. They stuck a landing. Like think
Hmm.
about how rare that is. We talked about Dark Knight Rises. I don't think that's a bad film, but I think it's a bad end of a trilogy about Batman. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like a satisfying. It feels like they kind of threw an ending out there that works and it's fine. But like Spider-Man 3 pissed everyone off. Iron Man 3 wasn't really an ending. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was good, but that's also happened after this. So
Guardians is a good, but I think so. The thing that this does and Guardians does is it ends individual characters' stories, but it doesn't try and put a bow on the whole thing. Like at the end of this, there are still superheroes out there in the MCU. At the end of Guardians, there's still a version of the Guardians because comic book storylines are not designed to end.
you're
But
right.
like a character can leave an ensemble, like a member of the X-Men can leave, but the X-Men keeps going.
Yep.
Whereas trying to be like, oh, this is the end of Batman, and it's like, okay, but what about when a supervillain attacks Gotham next month? Like,
I
What about when we
I
can't afford both Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. anymore?
I don't think they
well,
can not afford them. They're
but
paying him to come back as Doctor Doom, and I assume
Yeah.
that costs more than like
Yeah, it
most
took
films.
they had
that's
to
a
make him
terrible
feel like he
idea.
was free for a few years, though, right?
It's a terrible idea because we need Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom needs to be a constant presence, and we
They need
know
a
that Robert
proper
Downey
Doctor
Jr.
Doom, yeah.
He's not going to be there. He's not going to be in like 10 movies. There's no possible way. We already know that he'll die or they'll replace him with some variant that's a Mads Mikkelsen or something.
He's a little
Yeah.
easier recast. He wears a mask.
Yeah, also, whatever bullshit they're gonna do to make Robert Downey Jr. be Doctor Doom is gonna make it not feel like Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And Doctor Doom is
Yeah.
so perfect out of the box.
Yeah, and he has to have this ongoing and long-term relationship with Reed Richards.
Hmm.
That
That's what defines him. But
Yeah. And the fact that he loves and respects his Reed Richards' daughter.
mhm.
He's like her godfather. And that's like the only person in the world he actually respects. And that dynamic is really interesting. So if you don't have any of that in the backstory of Doom or the Fantastic Four, it weakens the character relationships.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the whole origin, what the ending thing is part. I feel like it's a mirror of the origin problem, where we're tired of seeing origins, which is like that centers the character so much. If you spend a bunch of time seeing like where, okay, Iron Man's a bad example, like where Doctor Strange comes from, I guess. You spend so much time seeing where he comes from that it's like there is a whole world that he exists in. And I think the new Superman movie does an incredible job of just like,
Yeah.
this world exists.
Oh,
Superman got here. Here's Superman.
the thing
'Cause
that I
in
think Superman does so well, which all the previous DC stuff failed to do, was it's like, oh, we can just take a different approach than Marvel. Because Marvel did the like, we're just gonna do Iron Man and then we're gonna do Hulk and then slowly build up a universe. Whereas it's 2025, we understand superhero universes now. So Superman's just like, oh yeah, it's just gonna exist in one.
Well,
and in comics, when these characters debuted, they'd be around for 6 or 8 issues before you got their backstory. You know,
Often,
you
yeah, a lot of the
Yeah,
time.
you'd have Superman, and then a year later, after he debuted and became a hit, you get the secret origin of
Hmm.
because by at this point, people wanted to know how they got to be Superman or Iron Man or whatever. But now we feel burdened to tell how they became this like sick freak who wants to dress up as a bat and fight crime.
It took
well,
25 years with Wolverine, didn't it? Maybe that's why, because
well,
Wolverine became so
Wolverine should not
popular.
have an origin.
You shouldn't
No.
have,
I
no, they should never have given him one, right?
I saw a really interesting quote, and I don't know how real it is or how accurate it was, but it was something about Stan Lee saying that he created the X-Men because they were all born that way, so he didn't have to write origin
Yeah, he
stories for
didn't
any
want
of
to
them.
keep writing origin stories for character every
And none
week,
of them
which
particularly
fair
have
enough.
That's
any, do they?
brilliant. Think about it. Really, the X-Men, the whatever 1999 X-Men was one of the first superhero movies people liked because it threw all these characters in. You understand the world, you understand their powers, you understand what their whole deal is, and you know, it worked. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of the same thing. Like
Hmm.
they set up
They pepper
here's these
in
guys,
Quill's origin later, but
but it's
that
like
makes
here's the
it
world.
they make it an interesting mystery instead of just like a by the numbers plot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars. Star Wars worked like that. Like here's the world. You
Well,
will understand the rules by the end of this
interesting. Have you
movie.
seen that Superman's actor has been talking about his Star Wars watch order?
Does he do the machete order or
Pretty
something?
much, yeah. He's a 4 5 1 2 3 6 guy.
Sure, why not? I don't know.
Um,
I'm right now currently just Andor, then the
just Andor.
first three, and that's
Okay.
it. I don't even know if I want to watch Rogue One again.
Hey, I have a few
One
one
day you'll break
stars.
me and I'll watch Andor.
I got some one
We'll
stars
keep
here.
trying.
This one's very short, but I think it's worth reading. It says worst of Marvels. And for some reason they put a spoiler on it. Full of mistakes and weaknesses. This movie violated previous Marvel movies.
What?
This movie violated previous Marvel movies. Like
Like if you like other Marvel movies, how do you hate Endgame? I don't understand.
actually maybe that's why the spoiler is there. Maybe they actually mean this movie went to previous Marvel movies and violated them in the context of this movie. Because they go back to previous Marvel movies.
I guess, yeah.
So if you take it as a literal statement, I guess, yeah. And I'll read one more where that I'm trying to find one that's just not full on, dork rantings, as in, it's like, what about this? What about this? Let's try this one. How they mess it up that bad? Good films for years until now. Absolutely terrible film. Endgame does not have any of the power fights or any part of any Marvel movie. This feels like a horrible one-off DC movie. The story could have been good, but worst follow through I've ever seen. They completely destroy the Avengers from what you have seen so far. The story is slow and seems like they didn't care at all how it ended. The fight scene is rushed, and you get to see each person take one swing and then they are out. Infinity Wars set up an amazing open end, and Endgame ruins 10 years of Marvel films. I am no longer a fan of Marvel. Thanks for the decade-long build-up to this. And it's the
Um,
last Avengers film, at least with the ones that we know, so they can never fix it. So if you're looking for what you have come to expect from Marvel movies, look somewhere else.
they're not entirely wrong in they're talking about the final fight, where like no one does anything interesting with their powers or anything cool. Everyone just runs forward and punches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like a really good superhero fight scene is where like they all have different powers and they interact in interesting ways. They do it a little bit when the three of them are fighting Thanos. And like Thor's charging up Iron Man and then Cap's using the shield and the hammer together and like there's actually some
But once you have
choreography.
70 heroes, it's a little hard to do that.
Yeah, it's just punch and run.
Or when all the female heroes just show up at once, coincidentally,
Oh,
and
we
it's like
I
me
was
and Matt
trying
used to
not to
bring that
bring it up
up
again.
all the time back when
That's
we
it.
did our sci-fi podcast. Just the look, we have female Avengers shot, which undermines any goodwill they might have had by
I
actually
did
having
notice the
female
shot starts
Avengers.
with Spider-Man though this time. Spider-Man that pans up and then
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know why I observed that. Hey Mark,
I
did you track down anything you want to read for us? Like those least helpfuls?
high-tech magic creatures with low-tech lowlifes. Just watch this and fast forward. I simply cannot digest this universe where, in one hand, high-tech space travel magic creatures are living along with dump low-tech planetlings. So I guess the majority of the fans are identifying themselves to those lowlifes, and the most irritating for me is how low modern they dress themselves in this Marvel universe. 207 out of 376 found that helpful.
Yeah, the least helpful ones sometimes are grammatically a little shattered.
I don't know what they were trying to say.
I've been trying to choose more like well written, like grammatically correct ones. I think maybe 2 months ago I was going through
Yeah,
the phase of reading the
it's
the data lore meme
it's
reviews, but now I want to
it's
find
not
more
a nice
coherent
thing to
ones.
do. It's not a nice thing to do to
Yeah, because
point
it's
out
probably
like
English as a second language, right?
Right.
or yeah or something
Because when
or
you do like
just
the Indian films, like I basically have to, right? Those are they're probably none of them are being written by native English speakers or few.
okay. Yes, the MCU now has time travel. Unless you're Back to the Future, stay the hell out of time travel. It has so many loopholes, ruins the story, and is just a device to use when you're too lazy to think about anything else. I am so goad time travel exists now to hopefully find a way to go back in time to before I watched this movie. Also, screw Tony Stark and his wife Pepper Potts.
Okay, well Luke
Hell
agrees with that
yeah.
part.
Tell him. I will agree. I usually don't like when a non-time travel series brings in time travel
yeah,
because it's kind of
agreed.
like, okay, well now I don't have to care about anything ever again in this franchise because it can be undone.
But Avengers, I mean, if we're considering comic books, they've traveled all over time already. So it is a very established comic book trope, and they give it a
Hmm.
little more, you know, well, the rules might be annoying, but at least they do that and just don't go all like Evolutionary War silliness or something.
I'm going to say they seem to, it
I like the
feels like
Evolutionary
they
War, just to be
have
clear.
quietly agreed to not use time travel again after this, but I
Well,
don't think
also,
that any characters
Now it's
said that.
Guardians.
multiverse.
Guardians
Yeah.
does make like 'cause you were saying like, oh, but they can bring back Gamora, but then Guardians does go back and make it like, not really.
Well, of course it is a
Does a good
different.
job of giving it some weight.
Well,
Um,
that's funny how they made that the whatever different alternate Gamora interesting, where so many of these. I mean, I guess going forward even, but like the alternate Thanos seems super boring in this. But
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, that's the whole. It feels like the whole thing. The time travel rules in this are specifically like if we set these rules up, then multiverse makes sense. Kind of. I hate
Hmm.
multiverse
I
stuff. I
was
said
about to
that a
say,
hundred times
I
this
prefer
podcast.
time travel to multiverse easily.
It's yeah. I don't. Different versions of you wouldn't exist in different universes, especially with different DNA.
It's like we were talking about with Into a Spider-Verse a few weeks ago. You see that and you're like, this is great because it was like the first like cinematic multiverse thing. Within 2 years, like, okay, enough. It's like,
Yeah.
But
That's
they're leaning hard in the multiverse thing, but ultimately all multiverse gives you is we can throw our different IPs together, and that's got to run out of steam eventually.
well, you can break rules like in the multiverse of madness Doctor Strange movie. You go to an alternate dimension and you can watch well, not the Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, different color. The Scarlet Witch can murder a bunch of people and it doesn't matter because they're not people in your universe.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to see a bunch of people get murdered that has no impact, which sucks. I don't know. It's
That
almost
happens.
worse.
That happens in comics a lot, which is frustrating when like characters go into another universe or we hear characters come from another universe and it's like, oh yeah, that universe was annihilated. Like what? Like 10 trillion people
Yeah.
are dead now?
see, X-Men does
Nobody
a good
cares?
job of keeping Phoenix responsible for that one planet.
Yeah.
Well, or we're never gonna get a real Phoenix because Phoenix
God.
Blow up a
do
planet.
Phoenix stuff. Yeah, we'll never get that. But that's just is that the deaths in that movie are cool, but they don't matter. It might as well be because you're never gonna be with those characters anymore, and you just get to watch Patrick Stewart get murdered for no reason. And it's like,
Well, just as
it's
they started doing multiverse stuff, everything everywhere all at once came out and was like, yeah, here's why this is a dumb thing to try and make us care about.
Okay, yes, there's another one that obviously multiverse works there because it's a contained story, right? And that
Yeah,
doesn't smash IPs together.
about how you can try to still care in a multiverse.
yeah, and it's very small, and there are only a few characters, and that it's about loving your daughter, even though she's a murderer sometimes. Go see that
Um,
movie. That's better than this.
Yeah.
That's probably on
okay,
the good list now.
I should check. I'm gonna check well, I guess we're wrapping up, unless someone has another big point they want to throw out on Endgame.
Well, this is kind of our
You got anything
last
about Ant-Man
good
going up a
list.
butt?
Oh yeah. There was all this like discourse about Ant-Man's gonna go up Thanos' ass and explode him. And there's a YouTube video of the like a crappy CGI mock-up of it. And I wish that had happened, because you know what? Why not? That's why.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is 7.8, which seems a little low for that one, but yeah, okay.
Hmm.
At least it's
This is
good.
our
Let's
last
woke. Go woke or
non-Batman.
broke.
This is our this is our last non-Batman good list superhero movie, right?
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I was gonna say last superhero movie, and then I remembered that we have Batman.
We
We like
have
the
bad
top
and good list
three.
Batman
Yeah,
I
so I'm
movie.
wondering if these big event films they get a ton of people rating it on IMDb at the same time within like a week of release, and so the good feeling that Endgame and Infinity War had, in that in those initial viewings led people to go and rate it 10 out of 10, whereas Citizen Kane or whatever, that's people thinking back retroactively about how great it was. So so there's always going to be a recency bias for
Hmm.
these kind of
Like, I
tentpole
assume this
movies.
is not as highly rated as it was when we made the list, Matt.
Actually, it's the
Yeah.
same. I just looked. It's
Okay.
It's
Oh
always been
wow.
8.4. So it's and also I think we might be in the nadir of this film's reputation right now. Give it
Yeah,
five
it'll
more
come
years,
back
and
up
the
again.
nostalgia bump's going to kick in, and then everyone's going to call it a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well,
I think.
we'll see. We'll see if they blow the next two Avengers movies.
Then
Then
this is the
this will
high
be sealed.
watermark. Yes.
Yeah, this will be sealed in as it's like I don't know. We mentioned Back to the Future earlier, where it's like I love Back to the Future. I think it's great. I don't think that it's impossible to make a better movie than Back to the Future, but since people just don't make a better movie like that of Back to the Future, or I don't know, a better Ghostbusters movie than the first one, I guess. But I guess that doesn't matter because
I'm a
people
big
will
defender of
always watch
2016.
Ghostbusters. I haven't watched that one. But I know that's controversial, but it's
I
it's
think
like
it's okay.
Okay, sure.
the
That's my
first High
controversial opinion.
Funny Chris Hemsworth
uh,
though.
That's true.
um But yeah, there it's a weird thing where I would totally. Oh, and I put a note to myself on my phone to bring this up, and I'm just remembering at the last second because for weeks it's been on my phone. Final Fantasy VII remake. That's the
Hmm.
best parallel to this because they may played this.
No,
There's
I'm
Final
vaguely aware of some of what goes on in it though.
Well, Final Fantasy VII was a game made by Square in like the 90s, and what they did
Mhm.
was just go way beyond what was technically possible by renting out a ton of computer workstations and like really pushed the limits of what a game could be. And then they decided that they they sort of teased a remake, and people were completely rabid over it. And eventually, they finally committed to making a remake. They started making it. They scrapped the whole thing and started over. And so far, there have been two parts of this released, and I think it is about 30 times longer than the original game already and has cost something like $200 million. Like it's been incredibly it's an incredibly big elaborate project that no I don't think any game developer would ever willingly do this again. Like three separate massive games, just to recapture this one thing because they're trying to flesh all of it out so much.
Uh,
So
hmm.
that we may never see anything like that again, and we may never see anything like Endgame again ever.
Well, Mark, to answer your question a minute ago, you said, "Oh, this is the last superhero movie except for Batman." Do you have anything to say? I'm like, when
Well,
Luke and I started the Sci-Fi Sanctuary, I thought a quarter to half of the movies we'd be covering would be superhero movies. We did about three, and there's just nothing to talk about. We got pretty bored of talking about superhero movies. So today's been nice. We haven't done it for a while. We've had a few recently, but whatever. There's a
Well, and by the
nice
time we
through
get to the
line.
Dark Knight, it's going to have been like 3 years. We've got all the like Bush era stuff we can bring up with that one. That'll be interesting.
And Dark Knight is kind of in its own
Yeah.
class anyway, so we'll get to that in a while actually. But
Like
I
I
guess
still like superhero films. I loved Superman. So like I
hmm,
don't think inherently that superhero film is dead, but I do think the Marvel formula has kind of run out of juice and needs mixing up. Maybe Fantastic Four is the film to do it. It looks kind of interesting, but then like everything on the slate after that does not sound very interesting or like they've learned any lessons. So
I'd like to see some dumpster fire Avengers films that 20 years later we'll watch like we did Superman 4.
well, the cast for Avengers Doomsday, I think, is the next one. Was something like they did a big reveal, and it was just an insane. I don't
And it
even
was the
know
the
yeah, there's no
cargo
way.
bay from the Star Trek the motion picture where they have like 500 people
Yeah,
in the room.
I
basically.
I
Yeah.
don't know what they're even going to do or how they're going to make
It's
anybody
going to be a
care.
whole film of I know a guy cuts to the guy. I know a guy cuts to the guy.
This looks
It's
like a
gonna
job
get
for
to
the
the
X-Men when the
just
X-Men show
speaking
up.
of Star Trek, it's gonna get to the point where like, okay, why is Data aging? Like, why does he
Yeah,
look so
yeah,
much
yeah,
older?
yeah.
So why does Thor look 15 years older than when he did when we saw him in the first Thor movie? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
Unless they're
hopefully
gonna,
Star Trek's figured it out because in probably in about 3 hours is season three premiere of Strange New Worlds, and that's just Trek now, right? And then Star
Yeah.
Wars, like I guess it's just going to be Andor right now, and just
Well, we
focus
got
on
the Grogu
something.
movie coming up.
Oh, is that why I saw that Baby Yoda stuff at Tokyo Station?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Grogu. I can use his name properly.
Sure.
Call him by his name.
great.
I saw Thunderbolts. I was very surprised at how much Thunderbolts reminded me of a James Gunn movie. I have always been a James Gunn fan, so the fact that he's kind of making a bunch of movies and now in charge of DC makes me
Pass the ball, DC. Why not?
I yeah,
Let them do it right for a while.
I don't have any like specific Marvel or DC loyalty. If it's good, I'll watch it.
Mhm.
It or Dark Horse or Image or whatever. Just I don't know. He knows how to write. He's a good writer and a good director. So, and maybe he's a good studio head.
Better than the Russo brothers.
Well,
Yeah.
Russo brothers
They're
are
good though.
well.
I'm not trying to crap on them too hard.
I
They make good.
I've seen The Gray Man. They're not good.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen The Gray Man, so I'll get back to you if I do
I've heard
that.
bad things. Let's
Okay.
just put it that way. But
Okay. I would
It's
just try
funny
not to
because
directly throw him under a bus. But I do prefer James Gunn, yes.
well, they're coming back to save Marvel? Question mark.
Mm,
I don't know what Marvel is thinking anymore. It
Yeah.
feels like they're just in panic mode,
well,
which is
let's oh,
interestingly
so
how Star Wars feels now,
I
or
guess we need
maybe
to get to the
recent.
end game of this podcast. Sorry, you said Star Wars, which is a new can of worms. So let me just close that can of worms and ask
Yeah.
John what's going
Good,
on in
let
his
that can flow through you.
podcasting world.
It's lovely to talk to you, John. I'm going to the gym.
I knew you
We're
had to go
already
to the
running
gym. That's
late.
part of why I'm doing this.
All right.
Yeah, so I uh am on the social medias at Quasar Sniffer. I have a podcast with my good friend Scott Thorough called Popcorn Eschaton. We talk about religion and politics in movies, but like normal, sane human beings. So hey, the last episode we did was on Star Trek 3 and Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man.
Oh,
That was a
nice.
cool double feature about
Dudes in
people
black.
being people being
Life.
shepherded to the afterlife
Yeah.
in interesting ways. So yeah, check us out. We have fun conversations.
I was just looking yesterday at Wikipedia and I was looking up Frank Welker and he was credited on Star Trek 3 for Spock's scream. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I was just I was telling my coworker about how, he does all the animal noises. And once you get into
Yeah.
the 90s, especially, like his credits are really funny. Um, Also, what does a quasar smell like?
Um, like the inside of Superman's cell in the Superman movie, where Metamorpho is creating that
Ah, okay, there we
star.
go. That's I
That's what it
got
smells
you.
like.
Okay, that's an acceptable answer. As for us, this films and filth, give us a good rating. All that we do lots of podcasting at podcastios.org. Mark and I are now talking about Severance over at Imprisoned in Prison and other Severed the Severance podcast. If anyone wonders about that
Uh,
name, I think we say it different every time. We don't know what the name of that
you
podcast is
if
anymore.
you want to find the podcast, search for Imprisoned in Prison.
Yeah, do that. Okay.
If you want to find it, which you may not,
Prison
but
in prison, but we're talking about Severance, keeping it confusing. Time enough podcast. We just finished the original Twilight Zone, and there's Luke Loves Pokemon. There's Game Show. Mark, you just rounded a game show, yeah.
yeah, it
You're
was
the
great.
game master.
We laughed a lot. It was actually a quiz I had intended for you, but then I just got tired of waiting for you to show up on the podcast, so I just gave it to everybody else.
I think I have to wake up at 6 in the morning if I want to do that podcast.
Yeah, it was 3 4 p.m. my time.
5 a. No, I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. for you assholes.
No, Luke did,
Well, Luke's
but he
different.
also won.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm just gonna snap my fingers for this end game. 'Cause I don't think that comes through on Zoom. Manya, 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 manya.
When
Okay,
you're a jet all
we're
the
trying to do
way. You
different
stab
songs.
Thanos in his neck.
Yours is
We'll
more
have to
appropriate, I guess.
steal the time stone and go back in time.
Yeah, go back and pirouette in the '60s on the set of New York.